The plans of Dr. Gero and Cell have gone terribly wrong, ending in both their defeats. Gero was killed by Cell, and with Gohan's tragic sacrifice, Goku would be left with more than enough rage to defeat Cell. It's in this rage that Vegito, a mixture of both Goku and Vegeta, was born, with only one goal in mind: the humiliation and massacre of Cell. But that's not the only thing that Goku got out of the situation. With the death and later resurrection of his son, Cell's strength only taught Goku a lesson. Goku, for the first time in his life, had been so wrong to the point it caused not a friend's death, but his son's death. Even with the resurrection of Gohan, Goku knew this whole situation could have been avoided if he trusted himself and the Patara that the Kaioshin gave him before placing that same trust into something else. Going into our next time skip after Battle of Gods, which we covered at the end of last episode, go watch it if you haven't. This Goku was filled with not only the courage, but the motivation as well to train harder than he ever has to stop a threat like Cell from killing his loved ones ever again if it were to happen. A fine motivation for the Saiyan turned God. However, training and development was not the only thing happening in the vast universe. Back on planet Earth, Kami recognizes a wish has been made with the Dragon Balls, which brought back a feeling he had felt at only one other moment in his life. But with none of the Saiyans on Earth, he would have to wait for at least one of them to arrive to let them know about the wish in question. Eventually a day would come where Gohan would return with business to attend to, but of course he'd have to put all this to the side when he hears of Frieza's resurrection. Of course, this Gohan has never even met Frieza and only knows of him because of the stories his dad told him, but that's it. But confidently, Gohan tells Kami that even if Frieza does for some reason try to come back to Earth like he did originally, he's just too weak. At this point, even the newly powered up Son Goten or Trunks could defeat Frieza if even half of what Goku told him was true. Kami is more than confident in Gohan's ability as well, but nonetheless, he asks him to stay for just a few weeks in case something does happen. Gohan agrees, and with this time, about a month passes, with Gohan occasionally reading his crystal ball. In this time, the Kaioshin who all know about Frieza's resurrection, they all decide to move Gohan's training to Earth for the time being. Eventually the day would come where the Kais all check their crystal balls, and this time, there would really be something to worry about. Back at Capsule Corp, Jacko lands on Earth and warns Bulma of Frieza's presence about an hour before he arrives. With this, Bulma makes her way over to Gohan's house immediately, only to not find him present. Bulma, frightened, labels him missing, but that couldn't be further from the truth. In a vast area full of plant life, we see Gohan meditating on top of a boulder with Piccolo and some of the Z-Fighters alike. The Kaioshin, using the crystal ball, they are all able to detect the general area they believed Frieza was going to land in. Thus, they left their heroes to return back to the Kaioshin realm. And then, our heroes laid in wait, preparing for the upcoming threat. Once he arrived, they could feel the atmosphere boiling with his presence, and stepping outside of the ship, this fear only went in further when they noticed that he hadn't even transformed yet. Gohan felt almost stupid for not considering that Frieza may get stronger before coming to Earth. If he had just used the Kai Kai as soon as he heard of the problem, he could have gotten rid of Frieza easily. Kami enters the mind of Gohan, to which Gohan is hoping he has some sort of good news when Bulma starts speaking up through Kami. She explains to Gohan that she was able to get in contact with his father. Gohan is excited and tells her to tell him and Vegeta to use a Kai Kai and get here immediately. Bulma sighs a bit and explains why they haven't done it already. In all these years training with Beerus, the two seem to almost have forgotten how to do the ability. In fact, when they tried Kai Kaiing here now, they didn't even move more than a feet away from where they were standing. Gohan realizes how big of a problem this is. He gets the idea that maybe if he Kai Kais to Goku and drags him here quickly, they'll be alright. But do they really have enough time? Just as he contemplates this, Frieza's hundreds of men begin attacking our Z-Fighters, and as they had plenty of time with the Kaioshin watching over Earth to train, they knew this was all coming. The foot soldiers were no issue at all, getting us quickly to the Emperor Frieza. Gohan is the first to step up to Frieza, to which Frieza mocks him, saying he can tell he's got Saiyan blood in him. But going on, he says that he can also tell that he's not Vegeta's son. Frieza begins an uproar and laughing, before finally, with an angry look on his face, saying that he must have left some Saiyans alive. That won't do, of course. Frieza says before calmly smiling and saying he's gonna finish the race of Saiyans he set out to exterminate years ago, and maybe just destroy the people on this planet just for fun. Gohan says that he simply won't let him do that. He can't let him do that by any means. Frieza begins laughing even louder than before transforming into his final form and starting the battle immediately. During the battle, Frieza is mocking the pace at which Gohan is going, and as a response to this, he begins to speak even more. He speaks of a legend they used to have for Saiyans, the legend of the Super Saiyan. Frieza has already transformed, and at this pace, he'll win the fight with ease. To Frieza, Gohan not transforming only confirmed his suspicions of the Super Saiyan being a fake myth. Gohan, listening, begins to smile before clearing his mind, beginning to charge up. Gohan quickly enters the ultimate form, and Frieza says this is where the real battle begins. Quickly we see a big difference in the battle, and the tides have almost turned completely. Gohan is actually winning this fight, outdoing Frieza's final form completely. Frieza, seeing this, begins to charge up once more, to which his power is rising almost impossibly, and quickly Frieza also enters his golden form, which scares Gohan far more than anything. Gohan remembers back to something Goku had showed him previously, the Super Saiyan transformation. Goku told Gohan of a time where he combined the two transformations, Ultimate Form and Super Saiyan, against Lloyd Beerus. Gohan charging more and more, but it's simply not working. It's almost as though Gohan simply can't tap into the rage required for the Super Saiyan. Even after the entire Earth is at stake, something is blocking his mind. Gohan continues the battle, but Frieza's power is just too much. Gohan even tries to find his balance, calming his mind and doing everything the Cao Shin taught him to no fault, but nothing's working. Frieza's golden form was simply too much, and before any of the Z Fighters could stop Frieza, Gohan for the second time is killed in front of everyone after being tormented by Frieza for what seemed like years to the Saiyans. The Z Fighters are on their knees, nearly crying for Gohan, but none of them, absolutely none of them, had the strength to do anything about Frieza. Frieza begins laughing before he starts pointing to the earth, but just before he can shoot any sort of blast, a huge pillar of light appears behind Frieza to even his shock. Goku and Vegeta have arrived, thanks to the help of Whis and Beerus. Goku is seen with a face full of anger, reminiscent to when he transformed against Cell all those years ago. Just before arriving, Goku felt Gohan's presence leaving the earth. He looks over to Gohan's body, and his suspicions are confirmed. But Goku knows letting his anger get the best of him won't help in this situation. He's went through that mistake once against Cell, and although it worked and they defeated Cell, Goku changed completely. He promised himself that if this were ever to happen again, he would deal with his emotions after the fact, if he could hold himself back. Goku looks over to Frieza, who's mocking Vegeta when he breathes in, and his hair is a new shade of color and has spiked up. Super Saiyan Rose has been revealed to be Goku's new transformation, and he has nobody else to thank except the God of Destruction and Whis. Thanks to his time spent as a Cao Shin, blue would not be the color of his new form. Frieza notices Goku after he powers up, and he mocks him, saying that the Saiyan boy must have been his son, it couldn't have been Vegeta's. Goku, with his eyes still closed, instantly moves across the field, punching through the air where Frieza should have been, only to look down and notice Frieza with an even bigger grin now. He had dodged the punch, and their battle would continue, with Goku saying no words whatsoever, and Vegeta letting Goku avenge his son. The two warriors are having a good fight, Frieza mocking Goku constantly, and Goku saying nothing until Frieza brings up Gohan's name once more. It's at this point where a clear winner begins to form themselves, and Goku is having no problems with Frieza. Goku finally says some words, and lets Frieza know that he knows that he tortured Gohan. He could feel Gohan's terror and Frieza's bloodlust from galaxies away. He lets Frieza know that he's gonna feel exactly what Gohan felt for the next few minutes. Even when Frieza exited his golden form, Goku relentlessly beat him before finally sticking a keyblade through his chest for seconds on end, and then killing him. Even Beerus was appalled by the pure anger this Goku showed off. It was nothing like the Goku Beerus had ever seen, but his anger was justified. It's at the end of the battle where Beerus can finally see Goku's face. As Goku finally turns around, his face isn't one full of anger, it's full of nothing. Goku looks almost empathetic as to what he had just done. It's here where Beerus finally speaks, and he tells Goku to come back with him to his planet. If anybody needed it right now, it was Goku. Goku agreed before finally reverting back to his base form, and the resurrection of Frieza was finally over, with Goku returning back to Beerus' planet for a few days, with the morality of the Z Fighters all around low after the death of Gohan, to which he can't be brought back. The Kao Shin visit alongside Kami to reconcile with the Z Fighters and Chi-Chi, when suddenly the Kao Shin bring up a method that could possibly work. They speak of the Namekians and how they have Dragon Balls set up as well, and using their Dragon Balls, another revival could be possible. When suddenly, unbeknownst to anyone, King Kai enters their minds, unsuspectingly, confirming that their Dragon Balls are more powerful. Everyone is confused when they suddenly hear King Kai's voice, as they barely know him in these events. He begins to laugh before letting someone else speak through him. Gohan enters the minds of everyone and lets them know he's all okay. He tells them not to question how he's talking, but just to listen, since he doesn't have much time. He goes on to explain that he was confident in eventually coming back. With everything in every book he read within the Kao Shin realm, he knew there was a way to revive, one way or another. They ask why he didn't tell them sooner about the Namekian Dragon Balls at least, or even the Namekians. Gohan jokes that at least he's telling them now, but stepping back and jokingly saying he kind of forgot to. But he goes on to explain that he doesn't want to be revived yet. Everyone immediately asks why, and he explains. Thanks to his time served as a Kao Shin, Yemo is more than faithful and believed every word Gohan said. With Gohan practically knowing he'd eventually be revived thanks to all the information he researched, he asked Yemo for a body that can age, and he was granted it. From there, he visited all sorts of places, and even met some people Goku would probably like to meet, but that's for another time. Gohan finishes his explanation by saying he eventually traversed Snake Way and met King Kai, and that's how he's speaking to them now. Before coming back, he feels like he still has to get stronger, a lot stronger, and if they let him, he plans to train with King Kai for at least a few years. Gohan says he feels like he's let down the Z Fighters twice now, and he still has plenty he wants to learn from King Kai, who's supposedly a great teacher. If not here, they can meet him in the Kao Shin realm anyway, so pleading once more, he asks all of his family and friends to not worry about him. Chi-Chi begs Gohan to at least be safe and to not overdo it. Gohan laughs and says he's kind of dead anyway, but he'll try. And with all that, the transmission closes off between King Kai and the Earth. Goku smiles, saying that he's proud of his son for taking initiative. The elder Kai laughs, saying he had planned to give his life so Gohan could return, and he still might just do it. The elder Kai laughs a bit longer before saying Gohan will make a fine Kao Shin when he returns to Earth. Within another time skip, we're led to the Universe 6 tournament arc, with Champa challenging his brother. In a few days, the tournament begins, so in these days, Goku and Vegeta train, and train inside the time chamber, with them coming out stronger than ever. Champa notices the divine status of Goku and Vegeta, and he calls it out immediately. But as they haven't done any Kao Shin related activity in years, and don't even stay in the realm with all the Kao Shin, the referees conclude that they will be allowed to participate, as by now, they haven't done anything like that in almost years. They're not really considered Kao Shin in the eyes of the gods, at least true Kao Shin. Getting to the fight, our first matchup is Goku versus Botamo, and as this arc really wasn't that interesting until Hit, we'll be skipping over some things. Goku throws Botamo out of the ring, and for the next matchup with Frost, this far more mature Goku wastes no time transforming and beating Frost easily before he can use any sort of poison. Next up we have Goku versus Vegeta. Convincingly enough, this Goku insults Vegeta over his lack of knowledge over the Kao Shin realm and beats Vegeta easily. With Goku practically on a roll, Champa asks for a timeout and asks the referee for an order change on both sides. The referees accept, and Champa opts to put in Kaba, and Beerus tells Vegeta to go in. Much like in canon, Vegeta teaches the young Saiyan how to transform, but quickly defeats him right after. Champa is sweating bullets when he realizes Hit's going in next. He becomes slightly more confident. Although he's his last fighter, Champa tells Hit no mercy and to do what he has to do, and fast, so it doesn't drain too much stamina. Vegeta and Hit begin their match, and Vegeta loses quickly to Hit's time skip, just barely seeing it but not being able to dodge fast enough. Next is Goku versus Hit. Goku wastes no time transforming before the match even begins. As Goku already saw the technique in action, Hit tries time skipping once more, but it's something Goku sees almost clearly when transformed. He just barely notices Hit skipping across the floor in front of Goku, but before he finishes skipping, Goku makes an aura blade and enhances it right in front of himself, so Hit would have no choice but to stop the time skip. With Hit stopped, Goku catches him off guard and sweeps him by the feet before knocking him out of the arena, defeating Universe 6. After a few more minutes, after all the shock of Hit's defeat has played out, Zeno of course arrives, and lets it be known that this is a crime that won't be forgotten. But for now, he'll let it slide, saying that it's actually given him an idea for them to maybe do this again sometime, but on a much larger scale. We summon Super Shenron, and Beerus asks for Universe 6's Earth to be revived, and everyone is happy. But closing this part off, Zamasu, a Kaioshin in training, has begun to devise a plan. One that could take a bit of time, but is more than possible. The universe really is beautiful, but it's as though those mortals ruin everything. Even mere mortals like Goku and Vegeta were taken under the wings of the great Kaioshin and turned into something mortals should never even dream of being. Divine beings. But these are just thoughts, right? For now they are, but it won't be long until they aren't. But that's another story for another time. Thank you so very much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next week